promise. play the song too sweet to sing. It broke my heart to hear, and in its round perfection I come to place my fear, knowing I'm still out of reach. It's achingly so clear. I listen to the music of my tears. It comes from some place I can't name or get to from my feet. Black twilight follows day around. It seems the twain won't meet, but from that full ephemeral light I pull faint candles near and imitate the music of my tears. As I fade to that holy ground, I can feel all the ancients around. With somehow more profound a truth than makes it to my ears, I lay me down in music, a deeper kind of music, a lullaby, the music of my tears. Good morning, folks. Welcome to All Souls today. I have lost count of how many weeks we've been doing this, but it's great always to have you here. We come together in as real a fashion as we can safely. So this is real time. We are here with you live on Facebook. I hope you will interact with us in the chat, and we look forward to every time we might be able to get together safely a little bit down the road. We'll see. This is a congregation that's built on covenant instead of creed. We are here by our pledges to one another and with the world, how we want to walk out into the world and behave with one another, acting with respect for the web of life, including the other people in it. So we don't have to think alike to love alike. So whoever you are, whatever your age, race, origin, orientation, background, status, ability, identity, if you care to be here with us, you're always welcome. We have announcements that we put at the first part of the service, and hope you'll stick with us through those. I want to invite one of our board members, Rebecca Tuggle, to share with us.
Thank you, Reverend Barbara. Announcements for today include the Highland Blessing Dinner is this Thursday, August the 5th at 6 o'clock. The first Thursday is usually our Thursday to volunteer. Many congregations throughout the city help out. However, One thing to bear in mind, you do need to be vaccinated. You will need to show proof of vaccination, but that's that one time they go ahead and put you into their system, and then they know that you are covered. You do need to bring a mask. That's for servers as well as the table hosts, but you can find links to more information on that down in the comments section, thanks to our marvelous IT gurus, Brittany Turner and Steve Caldwell, who make all those links possible. Giveaway the plate for this month for August is the YWCA's Dialogue on Race series, which uses structured weekly small group conversations with trained facilitators to create a safe environment for open and honest dialogue on specific questions on the issue of race. Now, our gift is dedicated to the memory of Thomas Radcliffe, who is son of John Radcliffe, who is one of those Dialogue on Race facilitators. Please look for links down in the comments on ways to contribute. You can also mail a check to the church, but you do need to specifically note there on the memo line that it is for Give Away the Plate or for Dialogue on Race. That address is 9449 Ellerby Road, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71106. Also, today is First Sunday Food Pantry Drive Day for the Knoll United Methodist Food Pantry. Melissa Lewis, who will be joining us a little bit later to do the unison affirmation, she will be in the All Souls parking lot from 2 to 4 today to pick up those items. This month, they are requesting travel-sized toiletries such as shampoo, conditioner, toothpaste, deodorant, but no mouthwash, if you please. They also need breakfast cereal that can be any size box of breakfast cereal. Larry Andros, who will lead our meditation this morning a little bit later on, as he does for us each Sunday. He hosts our weekly sitting Buddhist meditation on Saturdays at 10:30. Please look for links in the comments for more information on that. And as the board treasurer, we thank you for being here and supporting All Souls with your time, with your efforts. We also very gratefully accept monetary donations, pledges, one-time gifts to keep our religious liberal lights on, if you will. So you may donate online. There are several ways to do that. You can mail a check, but you will see links on that in the comments as well. Thank you again, Brittany and Steve. And now I will be quiet and send it on to Susan Caldwell. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. It's very good to have everybody here. I've been enjoying saying hello to some of you in the chat on Facebook, and we love it when you let us know that you're with us, that you're watching. This is our congregation. This is our virtual congregation. I wanted to remind you that we are continuing in adult religious education to do the anti-racism work that is a part of our having adopted the eighth principle, which is to dismantle racism and work toward beloved community. So we will be taking a break. However, next Sunday there will be no adult religious education, but we'll be resuming 2 weeks from today. And also 2 weeks from today, we are going to do some kind of outside activity with water with children and youth. So we've decided that's really the only thing there is to be done with as hot as it's been. And so look for more information on that to be coming shortly. And Melissa Lewis, did you want to say anything else about the food collection today?
No, I'll just be at the church from 2 to 4. Small toiletries, no mouthwash, cereal of any size. And come visit me and say hello. Susan and I will be.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We appreciate you doing that. And it's wonderful when we can work in partnership with other ministries around town, whether it's Highland Center Ministries, of which we are a part, or to help out Knoll once a month. And because so a lot of people are still needing food in our community. So we're grateful to Knoll. And I think that is all I had for today. I will pass it back to Reverend Barbara.
Well, I always ask you, or try to at this point, to take a couple of breaths and get here. Relax your shoulders a bit. And check in with your body and your breathing, and come into a spirit of worship. Great Spirit of light and of darkness, we gather once again to nourish ourselves from the fountain of reflection. Open our hearts to the anguish of our pain, to the tired taste of swallowed tears, and to our unrealized vision. In this place, we bring our scattered lives together, groping for meaning and looking for truth. Be with us as we continue our search for understanding of the mystery and of the temporal. Stay with us as we wander through our memories, seeking pathways to the future. Move with us and through us as we unravel the implied imperatives of hope unfulfilled. Let us find the way and the courage to realize the dream which still lives within us. Let us open our minds and hearts to a place of quiet, to the silent prayer for the healing of all pain and the soft, gentle coming of love. I am so delighted to have with us this morning Jackson and Ava Kate to lead the first part of our chalice lighting.
We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is the church of the open mind. This is the church of the helping hands. This is the church of the loving heart. Together with mind, hands, and heart, we care for the earth and each other.
That was great. Thank you so very much. Even doing the new part of our chalice lighting. To act with passion in the face of injustice, to love with courage in the midst of life's pain. This is the meaning of our chalice flame. This is the message of this faith. I would like to invite Melissa Lewis, who's going to be here this afternoon, to lead us in our unison affirmation, and ask you please to get back in the practice of saying it aloud as she leads it. If you want, you can stand up, because we would say, if you were here, rise in body or spirit, and say this with us, please. Melissa?
The unison affirmation. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve human need to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the sacred. Thus do we have a covenant with each other.
Thank you. I believe you're going to see some lyrics on the page to sing along with me. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow in my soul. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow in my soul. But I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain in my soul. I've got tears like raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops in my soul. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like raindrops in my soul. But I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. And I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. Peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. Susan?
One of the best stories I have ever seen or heard about transforming pain, and definitely the most symbolic, was a story of a woman who'd been married to a man who was not at all a nice person, not by a long shot. He was often cruel and abusive. And when she was able to get away from him and begin to find meaningful work and friends and eventually build a new family where she could love and be loved, she took every piece of jewelry that that first man had given her, and she had it all melted down into a golden nugget that she wore on a chain around her neck. And she did that to remind herself of all that she had come through, to remind herself that she was strong, and to remind herself that she had taken all that pain and made it into something beautiful, just as she had done with her own life. Now, we don't all have jewelry full of bad memories that we can melt down and make into something new. That story is not everybody's story. But it turns out that the thing that can help us turn our painful times into something good that we can use in our lives is the story itself. Turns out there is actual medical science that says that stories are good for us. A study in a children's hospital in Los Angeles found that children who either had stories read to them or were encouraged to read or write or tell their own stories got better faster. They had higher levels of the hormones, the stuff that our body produces that makes us feel good, and lower levels of the ones that rise when we are hurt or in pain or under stress. And I'll bet if you stop to think about it, no matter how old you are, you can think about a time that you found that a character in a book or a movie that was going through something helped you get through something hard. Or maybe you wrote a story. I was in another group this past week where we talked about the importance of creativity and the importance that you do something creative, something that comes from your heart and your mind, with no worries about whether it's good enough, whatever that even means. It's good enough because it comes from you. If you created it, it's worthwhile, and it cannot come from anybody else. I think that's always important, whether you write or you draw or you dance or you sing or you play music or you knit or you garden or you write and perform a play with your friends. Whatever you do, I think it can be especially important and especially helpful when you are sad or hurting. When you can get that pain and sadness onto a page or a canvas or a song or a dance, you transform it into something that helps you heal. It's true if you're a kid. It's true if you're a grown-up too. It's your very own gold nugget. So try it this week. And thanks.
Change the sound of music. Change that changes us. It's hard, but here we are. We need wider vision, broader reach, deeper hearing, truer speech, love and joy. hard, but here we are. We need to learn our weakness, our strength, go the distance, any length, love and justice, hand in hand. Neither one alone will heal this land. Change is seldom easy. Change that changes us is hard. But here we are.
Good morning. For today's meditation, let yourself find a comfortable position. Let your body be balanced and your spine straight. Begin with a deep, comfortable breath, shifting your attention to your heart space, and imagine breathing in and out of your heart. Allow your breaths to deepen and slow. Allow your breath to be soft and kind. In this moment of open knowing and ever deepening presence, reflect. Today I pause upon my unfolding path and see a burden I have carried far too long. Pain unreleased, suffering untransformed. I see within me a chain of losses stretching back through time, broken communications never mended, sorrows and betrayals that will not let me rest. I see that pain within and all around me. I see it behind the eyes of friends and foes. I see it in the earth itself. In quiet presence, I now hear a call I do not understand, a call I cannot comprehend. I am called to transform the pain, to bring light to shadow, to open what is closed. I am overwhelmed. My heart is so small there is no room. I have no skills or tools for such a task. In this sacred moment, I turn within and listen to wisdom that is deeper than the fear that would have me run and hide from pain. I am reminded of an ancient secret. The heart is no small place. The awakened heart is limitless and bright. As my heart opens, the way before me clears. I will walk the path of healing, embracing pain with kindness. I will walk the path of wholeness, opening to life in all its fullness. I will walk the path of fearlessness, trusting the life that lives through me. I will be like the vast and open sky, with space enough for cloud and storm. Hand in hand with beloved community, I will create a new world. As compost in time becomes the rose, we will transform our suffering into 1,000 gardens of peace and celebration. In this sacred moment, I center in my breath. Breathing in, I touch limitless presence, kind and clear. Breathing out, I open wide the doors of my heart. Welcome, welcome, one and all.
Voice still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call, singing in dark and rain, sorrow and pain, still you remain, singing, calming my fears, quenching my tears through all the years, singing. Voice still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call, singing in dark and rain, sorrow and pain, still you remain, singing, calming my fears, quenching my tears through all the years, singing.
We have a reading from Rabindranath Tagore. That's how I always say that name. I have no idea if it's a correct pronunciation. But Miss Susan, if you will.
Let me not pray to be sheltered from dangers, but to be fearless in facing them.
Let me not beg for the stilling of my pain, but for the heart to conquer it.
Let me not look only for allies in life's battlefield, but to my own strength.
Let me not crave in anxious fear to be saved, but hope for the patience to win my freedom.
Grant me that I may not be a coward, feeling your mercy in my success alone.
But let me find the grasp of your hand in my failure. There's an idea that one of my touchstones, Father Richard Rohr, shares with some regularity. Perhaps it's already a familiar idea for you, and maybe not. But what he offers is this: if we do not transform our pain, we will most assuredly transmit it. It's also a quite foundational idea, or from Buddhism, the Four Noble Truths. Suffering exists. Suffering's caused by craving, attachment, not wanting things to change. The end of suffering is the release of that, or changing it. There's a path which leads away from the craving and suffering and pain, but it asks a lot of us. Seems to me like pretty basic psychological truth. If we can recognize the truth in such a statement, if we don't transform our pain, we will transmit it. Then why is it that we are generally so poor at walking the walk of being a living remedy? Rohr also says we will usually transmit that untransformed pain to those we care about the most: family, our children, friends, and neighbors. And when I think of the word neighbor, my head always goes to the story from the biblical narrative of the Good Samaritan, and knowing that my neighbor's not just people around me, it's also anybody that can use my help. And I wanted to talk about this idea, the task of transforming one's pain, our pain, yours and mine, so that we become less complicit in passing it along to others. But then I started reflecting on the fact that over my life with this congregation, some 35 plus years of being a member, 20 of which I've been employed in some capacity or another, I can easily cite instances when I passed along some of my untransformed woundedness, when I've lashed out from my own pain or brokenness, when I've fallen far short of being a non-anxious presence, been edgy, thin-skinned, judgmental, domineering, defensive, harsh, negligent, critical, dismissive, presumptuous. I mean, there are all kinds of things that have come from years of not opening to what pain sits under those responses. So what in the world do I know? What in the world do I know about the metamorphosis of pain into peace and compassion? Peace and deep, permeating compassion. Well, the one thing I know is that none of it goes away on its own, or by pretending it isn't there, or ignoring that it is. The only pieces of all those failings that have been changed came from my walking through the pain and discomfort of the acknowledgement, opening to a sense of underlying grace and support that does not come from my self-soothing behaviors and techniques. We may all wish to move beyond our biggest shortcomings and defects. We may have done a good bit of work to do exactly that. But there seem to be other uncomfortable gnawings that can elicit undesirable responses from us. Cynicism, bitterness, anger, hopelessness. We don't want to transmit our pain, but still at times we find that we do. Still at times we can feel this self-perceived deficit or that shame, and we respond with cover-ups or projections or denials or other damaging to self or others behavior. Like I said before, why, in spite of all our work and all of our best intentions, do we end up as a species being so poor at walking transformation out into the world? I think a big part of the answer to that sits in these words from Barbara Holmes. She's a woman described as a spiritual teacher, an activist, an author, and scholar focused on African American spirituality, mysticism, cosmology, and culture. Barbara Holmes says the wounds that we don't know about or don't remember are the deepest. In a recovery program recently, I heard someone say that denial, D-E-N-I-A-L, is don't even know I'm lying. I guess they misspelled no. It kind of works. But absolutely, denial of our wounds, and honestly, we can not be aware of some of the most shaping wounds in our lives. So what do we do about those? They may be the deepest and the ones that most profoundly affect our thoughts and behavior and feelings, even if we don't recall them. Known and recognized or not, these psychic wounds that we carry, emotional, psychological, or spiritual injuries from childhood as a rule, brought about by emotional, psychological, and spiritual assault severe enough to damage the default networks in our brains. What are we expected to do about that? Somehow I have to think individuals who have found themselves empathetic to the plight of others, or who are particularly drawn to work for empowering others or righting wrongs or charitable endeavors or healing, have that proclivity planted in them by their own painful experiences. It may be explained away as a wanting to help because one is aware or has awareness of how much better they've had it than so many others in the world around them. And that may be true, but I don't believe it is the most foundational reason for that tendency, that inclination, that longing. I don't think that awareness of privilege is big enough, is a deep enough a crack for the light to get in, as Leonard Cohen wrote. We truly may not be able to recall or identify a particular event that cause these deepest wounds, but we can feel it somehow nonetheless. And if we try to paper over it or act as if it isn't part of us, it may easily become the most obvious part of our persona to other people. We don't necessarily have to know what caused the wounding to be able to transform its pain. We just have to be intentional about opening our spirits. And that's hard. But do we want to see healing in our lifetimes? Do we want to transmit our own pain on the world? Being bitter or cynical, arrogant. Do we want to see the profound shifts in this shared existence that are necessary for justice and peace and joy and freedom for all? Are we willing to trade part of self that's familiar and comfortable, that we may even like the best because we think others like it the best, or it feels most like someplace safe for us? Are we willing to trade are we willing to consider the possibility of trading those for something more authentic, more us than the us we know right now or might be willing to let the world into and see? We can transform the pain of, we cannot transform the pain of the world until we are transformed. And frankly, that's something we have to have the courage to allow. Transformation is not an intellectual exercise. It takes faith in something beyond the definable and empirically provable. It's not something that we manipulate, construct, or control into happening. And at the same time, it doesn't come without much work and discomfort going through the pain. How do we get to pain we don't know is there? Larry talked about the openness. Miss Susan talked about creativity. There are most definitely people who know a great deal more about all of this than I ever will. It's something I very much want to learn more about and become braver at living out, living into. And some of this will be familiar to some of you. I hope you don't mind hearing it again. Barbara Holmes goes on to say, it's through the wormhole of those wounds that we travel to arrive at the peace that passes understanding. Authentic joy, however, takes place through our pain, not under it, or to the left or the right of it, or over it. Sikh humanist rights activist and writer Valerie Carr says in her book, See No Stranger, a memoir and manifesto to revolutionary love, the joy that truly heals is found in the middle of the necessary labors of our life. The labors of dying, the labor of birthing, the labors between. We cannot force it, but when we create moments to breathe between labor pains and surrender our senses to the present moment. Notice the colors and light and feeling of being alive here together. Joy comes more easily. It's a felt sense in our bodies in the face of horrors visited upon our world daily. In the struggle to protect our loved ones, choosing to let in joy is a revolutionary act. Joy returns us to everything good and beautiful and worth fighting for. It gives us energy for the long labor. Joy is the gift of love. It makes the labor an end in itself. These people that know more about it than I talk about how in the pain of giving birth, there is somehow underneath all that pain, the joy of anticipation, the joy of being plugged into the cycle and circle of life. Joy de Grey writes about the wounds caused by oppression that are passed down over generations. She says, throughout recorded history, people have subjugated, enslaved, and at times even exterminated one another. Sometimes these acts are committed in the name of a king or queen, other times in the name of a tribe or country. Often they are committed in the name of God. Always they were done to consolidate and expand the power of a select few. Always. Vast numbers of people died for no good reason. Always, even a greater number of people needlessly suffered to sate the appetites of that select group. These are crimes against humanity, and these crimes continue to be executed across our planet to this day. Furthermore, these crimes are perpetrated in the seemingly never-ending cycle. The powerful oppress the less powerful, who in turn oppress those even less powerful than they. We see this often even within families. These cycles of oppression leave scars on the victims and victors alike. Scars that embed themselves in our collective psyches and are passed down through generations, robbing us of our humanity. The time has come to break the cycle and once again claim our humanity. Breaking this cycle and claiming our humanity will require much work from all of us. Those who have been victims of years, decades, and centuries of oppression first must heal from injuries received firsthand, as well as those passed down through the ages. Those who have been the perpetrators of these unspeakable crimes and those who continue to benefit from those crimes have to honestly confront their deeds and heal from their psychic wounds that come with being the cause and beneficiaries. How do we heal our pain if we don't recognize it? Seems to me, I can't think of a soul in this congregation that doesn't feel somehow drawn to the work of making life better for somebody. I think all of that is about pain that we have known. This morning in our adult ed class, Roger Goodell the commissioner of the NFL was talking about how things that he had been told about, things he had heard about, were not things that had the same impact on him as the things that he witnessed himself, the pain that he came to understand better by closeness to it. We don't like to be close to pain, especially our own. Transformation is something that I think Unitarian Universalists dream of, hope for, want to help co-create, but don't often acknowledge the necessity of tools that aren't convenient in order to create transformation in ourselves, in our own smaller communities, and then in the world around us. I have so much work to do. Even if it's in the busyness of your life, mindfully breathing and inviting in the presence and participation with the force, that from which all life springs and continues to unfold, recognizing it in ourselves and opening up to it so that we can know the strength of our vulnerability, helps us move through the pains that we don't recognize, and gives us the courage and joy to more effectively address the ones we do see. A whole lot in community depends on our being able to help one another see our own blind spots. We don't like that work either. My hope, my prayer is that we will follow the call into transformation and be willing to use tools that might not be comfortable. Allow the old wounds to heal and do the work we have to do to be the transformation, be the change, transform the pain. Our closing hymn is Life Calls Us On. I don't think I have the lyrics on it, but I hope any parts of it you remember, you'll sing along with.
Hearing reverence now we gather for the blessings we have known, with a pledge to one another that we journey
Oh, it's nice to hear the choir. I can't wait until we get to be together and sing. From Darcy Roque, who for a while has been the lead minister at Community Church Unitarian in New Orleans, but is moving on to get her doctorate and do some other kinds of ministry. There's too much hardship in this world to not find joy every day. There is too much injustice in the world to not right the balance every day. There is too much pain in this world to not heal every day. Each of us ministers to a weary world. Let us go forth now and do that which calls us to make this world more loving, more compassionate, and more filled with the grace of divine presence every day. So be it. Amen. Blessed be. Go in peace.